The verse says, Ayam tu sakshat bhagvam striyadisha kutastha atma kalyavatirna yasmina vidya rachitam nirarthakam pashyanti nanatmam api pratitam. So the translation and purport they have already read. I'm supposed to explain it. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So this is about King Prithu, and probably they are I think all these priests, they are reciting his glories now, and after reciting some of his glories, the priests are almost concluding, but they're not concluding the prayers, but they're giving a conclusion of their prayers and their glorification, and they are saying, Ayam tu sakshat. Now they are saying that all the qualities which we have described, in fact they have said that King Prithu is very determined in his vows. He is very pleasing to his subjects. Raja Ranjakai. They actually defined who is a Raja. They gave a definition of a king. Ranjakai, a Raja is a person who, Ranjakai means who pleases his subjects. That's his main duty. By protecting them, by maintaining them, by taking care of them like father. So all those qualities were described. But now Srimad Bhagavatam says, I am tu sakshat. Now this word tu means but. They're saying although we have described all these qualities in Prithu, but you see all these qualities can also be found in a great personality. A great personality, all these qualities can be found. A great personality can be charitable. He can be determined in his vows. His fame can be bright as sun. He can also protect his subjects like a father. All these qualities can be there in a great personality. But they are saying but. Tu means but. But I am this king whom we are talking about, this Prithu. He is not an ordinary person. He is even not an ordinary demigod. He is different. He is Sakshat Bhagavan. Now they are saying he is directly Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now that's the distinction they are bringing. The whole point is all the good qualities can be found in humans. They can also be found in God. But the good qualities which are found in God are very different from the good qualities which are found in humans or demigods. And what's the difference? In any human, in any demigod, any good quality is mixed with some fault. That's the nature of this material world. That's the nature of materialist. That's the nature of this material world. You can't avoid it. So that technically it is called Kalyanaika Gunai. All Kalyanmai Gunai, all auspicious qualities, has some heya. Heya means some fault. It is necessary to be there. But when the same good qualities are found in God, there is absolutely no fault. It's perfect. That's how it goes. It is perfect. Why it is perfect? Because the verse given is Tri Adhisha. Because Lord is the master of three planetary systems. Three planetary systems means, actually the whole point is, he is the Lord of three modes of nature. Mode of goodness, mode of ignorance, mode of passion. The three planetary systems are designed according to three modes of nature. The upper planetary system, which it belongs to, which is Bhuvar Swaha Maharjana Tapasatte, which belongs to demigods and rishis, that's in mode of goodness, primarily mode of goodness. The middle planetary system, where Earth is situated, that's primarily mode of passion. And the lower planetary systems, where Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Rasatal, Patal, and all these, that's primarily mode of ignorance. So they said, well, he is different. Prithvi is different. And what's difference? Difference is he's God. But merely saying he's God doesn't say that he's different from any other being. How do we understand by seeing him that he's different from other kings? There were many great kings. Ambarish was a great king, but he was not God. But his personality was more than perfect. Or maybe Harishchandra, he was a great king, but he was not God. He had so many good qualities. They are all mentioned in Bhagavatam. But they said this Prithvi is different because why? He's God. But then the whole point is, just by seeing him, how do we recognize that he is different? That's what they say, Triyadhisha. He is a master of modes of material nature. And that means any good quality he has, it is devoid of any fault. It is devoid of faults of... Somebody...
Please mute the phone.
So, this is a fault we got in this conference call because of words of material nature, because of mode of ignorance. So that's the whole point. That is why Krishna's qualities, although it appears same as the qualities in his devotees, there's a lot of difference. His qualities are transcendental. His qualities are perfect. His qualities are actually more perfect than perfect. Om Purnamidam Purnamada Purnat Purnamudachyate. That's what the Upanishad says. So that is the meaning of transcendental qualities. That's the meaning of transcendental qualities. Transcendental qualities means those qualities have no fault. So that's why they say Triyadhisha, Sakshat Bhagavams Triyadhisha. Now the word used is Sakshat Bhagavams. Now they are saying Prithvi is different. He's not just God, he's Sakshat God. He's directly God. Now that means actually Srila Prabhupada writes here, being an incarnation of Supreme Celtic Godhead, Maharaj Prithu could not be equaled in his excellent qualities to anyone. You can imagine? Prabhupada is saying. And also Prabhupada is saying, because he's Supreme Personality of Godhead, is fully equipped with 6 opulences, and King Prithu was also empowered in such a way that he could display the 6 opulences of Supreme Personality of Godhead in full. That is Prithu. That is why he's called Sakshat Bhagavan. He is direct incarnation of God. Of course, we understand that by direct incarnation, we don't mean that he is Krishna himself, because they say Kalya Avtirna. He is a partial plenary expansion of God. But nevertheless, he is God himself. He is not a Jiva Tattva. That's how it goes. He is not even Shaktivesh Avatar. He is a partial plenary expansion of God. There's a difference. Shaktivesh Avatar is a Jiva who is empowered with some Shakti. But Prithu is direct Amsha or expansion or Kala, expansion and expansion of God. He is actually Avatar of God. It's a lot of difference, and that's why Prithu's rule is always remembered in history as the best king and the best kingdom. Even actually, Prithu's kingdom is glorified more than even Lord Rama. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Rama's kingdom, Lord Rama's pastimes are explained very little. In fact, I mean to say there is one reason, because Shukdev said to Parikshit, how many times you have heard about Lord Ram? So many times, that means. And I have also heard so many times, so I am not repeating it. At the same time, he actually describes Prithu, his rule and his kingdom. Now one understanding is, which Bhagavatam gives, is Prithu's kingdom was much more perfect than Lord Ram's kingdom, although Lord Ram is God himself. But Prithu is no less than God. He is also an expansion of God. He is not a Jiva Tattva. And his rule was more perfect than Lord Ram's rule. So Srila Prabhupada writes, he's the incarnation of Supreme Mona Shaktivesh Avatar. Prabhupada writes he's a Shaktivesh Avatar. That's one thing. Some people consider Prithu as Shaktivesh Avatar. Some people consider Prithu as as direct plenary expansion of God. Now, there is a difference of opinion, but nevertheless, even if he was Shakteva Shaptar, he was a very powerful Shakteva Shaptar, almost equal to expansion of God. That was his super excellent qualities. So, the whole point is, well, he was so perfect. He was so perfect that Yasmin Avidya Rachitam was so perfect that Avidya Rachitam, that the whole word which is made of Avidya, Avidya Rachitam means the word which is created by any science. That word, Nirarthakam, in his eyes it was useless. Sukadeva Goswami says. That Prabhupada says, this is the mark of perfection. If you want to see who is perfect, you have to judge by the amount of renunciation he has in his heart. You have to actually see how he perceives this material world. For Prithu, this material world was meaningless. Nirarthakam. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, I think Srila Prabhupada gives an example of this. Yeah, I think, Srila Prabhupada doesn't, okay, anyway, so there's an example of this. A person who wears a dress. I think Prabhupada says in this, Prabhupada says, learned man does not look upon the dresses that externally cover the living entity, but sees the pure soul within the varieties of dress, and knows very well that varieties of dress are creation of many signs. Avidya Rachitam. That means for Prithu, this body, which is made by any signs, and the things around him is made of matter, had absolutely no meaning to him. It was invaluable. The only meaning in his eyes, in his heart, was for his soul and for super soul, for God. That's all. And that is why the word uses Avidya Rachitam. And the word uses Nirarthakam. This word is very nice because Arthakam means meaning and Nirarthakam means without meaning. Now what do we mean by when we say Prithu had absolutely no meaning? For Prithu, this body and this material world was meaningless. What do we mean by that? Don't we have to take care of our body if it's meaningless? Or don't we have to take care of our things, our material things which we have, which we need in our life? What do we mean by meaningless? Now, the whole point of this word Nirarthakam, this word comes a lot in Upanishads, Nirarthakam, not exactly in the way of Nirarthakam, not in a literal sense. At the same time, the meaning, this concept that this word is meaningless, it comes many, many times, over and over again in Upanishads. And in fact, the whole thrust of Upanishads, of actually Upanishadic knowledge, is this whole word is meaningless. That's one point which Upanishads are trying to fix in our mind. But what do we mean by that? Do we become careless, or do we become space out because everything is meaningless? Do we have to take care of our health or not? Because if we take care of health, then this means you are giving some meaning to your body. Do we have to take care of things around us? Yes or no? These are the questions when this word Nirarthakam comes. So how do we reconcile all these things? Well, when we say that for Prithu, or for liberated people, of a powerful incarnation of God like Prithu, for them this whole word and this body is meaningless, that means for them, if this body and material things are not used to understand God and to understand self, then it has no meaning. That's how these people see. Without connection to God, it is absolutely meaningless. If they use in the service of God, then there is some meaning. Otherwise, it has no value. Otherwise, it's a pile of dust. That's all. In fact, Christ used to say that for me, this flesh is absolutely invaluable. It's absolutely meaningless. So, like Rishabdev, you see Rishabdev, he was just roaming around naked. Sukhdev, he was roaming around naked. They were almost in a different world altogether. So it is said in Bhagavatam for Rishabdev. It is said some liberated souls, they know that they are not this body and the soul. And but Rishabdev was a liberated soul of such a caliber that even though he was there in this body, he was actually Rishabdev was not present in his body. That's the whole point. That caliber of realization he had. Although he was in this body, he was not in this body. For him, this body was actually just another 5 elements in the environment, and he was just there, roaming around. That was his level of consciousness. For him, he had no body. He was not even conscious that he was in this body. That was his trance. That was his realization. That was his level of nirarthakam. It's absolutely meaningless. So for us, Prabhupada says in Bhagavatam, this material world is a stool. Prabhupada says. For devotees, even Krishna has no interest in this material world. If you read 3rd canto, discussions between discussion between Vidur and I think who was it? Maitreya, Vidur and Maitreya. There the discussion, Maitreya says, God has absolutely no interest in this material world. Absolutely no interest. God has absolutely no interest in anything but of this material world. He has no interest. Similarly, his servants have no interest. The only point of interest is if they can be used in service of God. That's all. Otherwise it's a waste. Otherwise it's stool. That's all. It's stool. Prabhupada says only a foolish person will have interest in stool, isn't it? Prabhupada says that. Only a foolish man will have interest in stool. Only an animal will have interest in stool. So that was Prithu. Avidya rachitam nirarthakam. This is how we identify great people. You see the point? Out of all qualities which they have been praising for Prithu, he's a king, he's caring, he's determined, he is strong, he's simple, he is blah blah blah. It keeps on going. In this verse they declare that he is God, and the only way to recognize he's God or godly is avidya rachitakam nirarthakam. This word is meaningless. The only way to recognize any great soul or any divine being or any godly being is by this one quality. For them, this body, this flesh, this matter, earth, water, fire and ether, all the ideas of this material world, no matter how much charming they may be, it's all meaningless. It has no value. The whole focus is a spiritual word for him. The whole focus is soul and super soul and devotion. That's it. Pashyanti nanatvam api pratitam. Now they say yes, pashyanti nanatvam. Although these liberated souls, these people who are very powerful beings, who are perfect, who are actually nitya-mukt, Prabhupada raises the point of nitya-mukt. They see, pashyanti means they see, nanatvam means they see material variegatedness. They see so many things in this material world, so many things, so many ideas, so many concepts, good concepts, bad concepts, darkness and light, all this duality they see. Nanatvam is duality. Api pratitam. They can see this just like a person sees in his dreams. He sees a palace, a beautiful queen, and all the money and gorgeous lakes. But as soon as he opens his eyes, everything is over. And as soon as the person wakes up, the dream, he understands it's a dream, and he just simply forgets it because he knows it's meaningless. He can't do anything with that. It was his imagination. You can't use imagination to actually really enjoy, isn't it? So when that person gets up, he says, "Oh, come on. It's all useless. Actually, I'm a poor man. But in dreams, I'm a king, I have a palace. Well, what's the use of that? Because in reality, I'm a poor man. It's a dream. Similarly, this example is given. Similarly, pashyanti nanatvam api pratitam. A self-realized person sees pashyanti nanatvam. Nanatvam means he sees so many things. So many charming things. So many seducing things. So many eloquent and brilliant people. So many genius. So many talents. So many skills. Nanatvam means he's seeing so many things. It's so alluring. It's so attracting. He's seeing so many attracting things in this material world. But api pratitam. But still, they say api means still. Pratitam. He understands it's pratit. Pratit means it's a mirage. It's a dream. It's not a dream like a dream. In a dream, I mean to say the whole concept of comparing this material world with a dream is not like Mayavadis. For Mayavadis, they think that example of a dream, this material world is a dream, means that just as dreams are false, material world is false. But for us, it's not like that. For us, we don't compare dream with this material world because dream is false and this is also false. That's not the idea. For us, because for us, the whole example of dream is given to understand the point of not that something is false or real. That's not the idea for which example is given. Example is given to make us understand that just as dreams are actually meaningless, after we wake up, we don't give any value to dream. We can be millionaire in our dreams, and when we wake up, we simply forget it. Although we might be billionaires, so we don't keep on rejoicing after we get up. Oh, I'm a billionaire. I'm a billionaire. No, it's over. Dream is over. Your billionaire life is over. That's all finished. Who cares about that? Similarly, just as dreams are meaningless, material world is meaningless. For a liberated soul, whatever he sees, whatever he thinks, whatever he hears, whatever he gets, it has no value at all. For him, it's all nirarthakam. For him, it's all avidya rachitam. For him, he has no interest in that. That's the whole idea. It's meaningless, no interest. A wise man will have no interest in his dreams until unless he's mad. Dreams come and go. So a learned man, a liberated person, a powerful man, a divine being, a perfect man, he has no interest in material world or body. That's how we recognize godly people. This is the power. This is actually a very nice verse. I mean to say, you can also recognize a godly man by love of God. You can do that. That's one of the symptoms of a godly man. He should be, if he has no interest in this material world, he should have interest in God, of course. So either you can recognize a great man like Prithu, that he has love for God. But the whole point is, to recognize love of God is difficult for ordinary people, because they themselves do not have love of God. And that's why it is said, Vaishnavira Kriya Mudra Vijnana Mujaya. Nobody can understand a Vaishnava until unless he himself is a Vaishnava. Only a Uttam Adhikari can recognize Uttam Adhikari. Even for a Vaishnava, for a Kanishta Adhikari, Uttam Adhikari will appear as a madman. And it is said by Bhaktivedanta Thakur, for a Kanishta Adhikari, sometimes he might criticize Uttam Adhikari for not following rules and regulations strictly. In fact, Srila Prabhupada was like that. I mean to say, some of the devotees left Prabhupada because Prabhupada was not attending Mangalarti. And when he was doing Mangalarti, he was playing with some girl, Saraswati, he was playing there. And devotees said, what is crazy? Sometimes Prabhupada used to not offer and simply eat. Go in the DT kitchen and eat straight away from the plate of Krishna. Many times Prabhupada didn't used to put tilak. So, well, for a neophyte, this is absolutely craziness. So they can't, I mean to say, even a Vaishnava cannot recognize another Vaishnava. How can a non-devotee recognize a Vaishnava? You can imagine. And especially people who are in love of God, people who are perfect, it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible to do that. For non-devotees, so how can a non-devotee recognize a devotee or a powerful being? Only by renunciation. For him, for people in general, the only way to recognize great souls is by the power of their renunciation. And that's common sense. You come to India, or you go to Christianity, you go to Islam, so many saints are there. And why people respect saints? Why? Not really because they are in love with God, because that's equally difficult to recognize. But even Buddhism, which has no concept of God, people actually respect saints. Or maybe Christianity, they have concept of God. Or maybe big yogis, if you come to India, they have no concept of God. They are after siddhis or tantrics, but people respect them simply because of the power of the renunciation. They left their house. They left all their attachments, or even if householders are there, like in Vallabh Sampradaya, there are so many householders, Goswamis. Why people respect them? Because they see, okay, even after being householder, they are living such a simple life, isn't it? That's how we respect saints. That's how we recognize saints. Very few people actually respect saints because they have love of God. I mean to say, it's not like that. It is not like that. At least, I mean to say, even in ISKCON, I mean, we respect sannyasis. Why? Actually, it is very natural. It comes naturally that we respect sannyasis, isn't it? It is very natural. The amount of respect we give to sannyasis is not the same amount we give to grastas. Although they might be equally in love of God, they might be equally advanced in love of God, but it's somehow, I don't know, somehow it's very natural to naturally you bow down in front of a sannyasi. It comes automatically. Because it's a rule of this word. Renunciation is the greatest wealth. Renunciation, soul glorifies renunciation. Soul likes it. Soul likes the concept that, yes, absolute no interest in anything in this material world. This material world is useless. Soul is naturally attracted to this. So that is why here the symptom of Prithu as God, how to recognize Prithu is Sakshat Bhagavan. Okay, there are so many qualities, but then you can get confused, because these qualities can also be found in great people. So how to recognize? Okay, the only way to recognize any godly man is by the power of renunciation. The more the power of renunciation, the more the godly and divine he is. The more we have less interest, the more we have less interest in this material world and in this body, the more advanced we are. That's how it goes. And Srila Prabhupada, I think Srila Prabhupada, something is wrong. Somebody is not muted. So that's how it goes. So that is why Srimad Bhagavatam says, Janyati ashu vairagyam jnanam chitatahitkum. If you want to Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Pravisata, if you want to check whether there is devotion or not, if you want to check whether there is underlying devotion or there is lust, how to know? Well, Bhagavatam says just see two things, that's all. There's a list in 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, divine qualities, or 16th chapter. But forget it. Even if you forget this list, just see two things. And that is Vairagya, Janyati ashu Vairagyam, renunciation, and then Jnanam Jadat Ahitukam, and knowledge, which a person gets because of renunciation. So So that's the whole idea. As soon as we develop that consciousness that everything is meaningless, you see, it's the whole point of mood and consciousness. It's not running away from objects or from people. That doesn't help. Nirarthakam is more to do with concept. That concept has to be there. I mean, so you see in YouTube, for example, internet, there's so many people talking so many things. There's so many crazy people, there's so many mad people, there's so many insane people, there's so many, perverted people, there's so many nice people, there's so many things. But the whole point is, for a devotee, everything is crap. Everything is useless. I mean to say, even their faces are useless. What to say of their concepts? We have absolute no interest to hear them, to see them. Whatever they are saying, we know it has got to be wrong. It has got to be stool. That's all. It's nonsense. Because it will never help you to approach God or go near God, even by 1 millimeter. In fact, it might take you away from God. The more better they are, the more worse they are. Because they will take you away from God. They will attract you. So you see the point. It's a whole consciousness which goes in great people. They are not interested in all these things. Why they are not interested? Because they know that these things are very superficial. These things are like this whole material world, even this body, anything connected to this body and this material world. It's just like a child's play and have no real essence or no real value. Now that's the arthakam. Artha means value. So it has no real value in life. It will not add anything in your life. It will rather subtract. It will actually injure your soul by actually infusing wrong concepts, enviousness, lust. And as a devotee, in fact, if we don't have this quality, we fall trapped to illusion. And as a devotee, if Krishna has mercy on any devotee, the first quality he gives is this. The first and the last quality is this. Janyati ashu vairagyam. Ashu means very quickly he'll develop renunciation. That means he will lose interest in all the things. He will lose interest in the best thing of this material world. That's the whole point. He will lose interest in so even in good things of this material world. For a devotee, bad things are bad, but good things are also bad. I mean to say, there's nothing good and nothing bad. Everything in this material world have no meaning, no value. They're like stone. He's not even concerned. He's not even concerned. Who is concerned with toilet? Who is concerned with prison? So, I mean to say, people, even good is as equal to bad. That's the whole point. So many people are good. They have good qualities. But because those qualities are not connected to God, it's all material. And material means it has got to be useless. That's all. That's what they have. This verse is talking about. And I think if we can keep this in mind and develop this power of renunciation slowly and steadily in our hearts, we can also become divine and godly, because this renunciation that brings all good qualities automatically. Humility and renunciation, these two things are foundation of all good virtues. Some scripture says humility is the virtue, is the foundation of all good qualities. Some scripture says, especially Upanishads, they says vairagya is the foundation of all good qualities. Both are correct, both are same. Because humility means renunciation, by the way. In fact, Trinadapi Sonechana, we like to think Trinadapi Sonechana means humility. But that's not renunciation, but you're absolutely wrong, because Bhakti Siddhanta, Srila Prabhupada, even actually Shukracharaniti, it defines humility, by the way. It defines humility as renunciation. So when Mahaprabhu says, become humble than a straw in a street, That means develop this power of renunciation. That means just like people have absolutely no value, no meaning for a straw in a street. There's no value straw in a street. Come on. Similarly, we should have no value for this material world and for this flesh. That's the meaning of humility. Humility means we are servants of God. Krishna is a master. What he likes, we like. What he doesn't like, we don't like. Krishna doesn't like sin, we don't like sin. Krishna likes devotion, we like devotion. Krishna doesn't like this material world. We don't like this material world. Isn't it? That's humility. That's humility. We are not egoistic to think our ideas are better than God's. Krishna's ideas are best. And in Krishna's mind, this material world is useless. That's why he says, come back to me. Why he will say, come back to me? If there was anything good in this material world, he would not have said, please come back to me. And with such an urgency. And nevertheless, and on the top of it, he promises that once you come back to me, you will never come back to this material world. That's a big thing. That itself shows that Krishna is really, I mean to say, Krishna is absolutely not interested in this material world. Neither he wants us to be interested in the material world. That's why he says, once you come back to me, you are never going back there. I will not allow you to go back there. That's the whole point there. I promise you. Because that's useless. So, yeah. So that is humility, see. Humility is the same thing. Okay, yes, Krishna's ideas are best. And I should be convinced by his idea. And his idea is, this is useless, meaningless, so for me also it's meaningless. Krishna's idea is, this body is useless, leave it, get your spiritual form. Okay, I'm on the same lines, I accept it. I accept it. That's humility, isn't it? If your master says something, and if you say, I accept, okay, then the master will say, he's humble. And if you say, no, I don't accept it, it doesn't seem logical, it's from my mind something says something different. And of course you're not humble. So that's the whole point there. So it's same. That is why, although they're talking about renunciation, they're talking about humility. And humility is the queen of all qualities. And by that we judge who is the best devotee. And Prithu Maharaj is the best devotee. And that is our safe net. If we don't have this quality, if we don't understand this whole world is meaningless, we'll fall trapped in this material world. We'll fall trapped to illusion, we'll fall trapped to boast within Krishna consciousness. We'll fall trapped to money. We'll get so much. We'll fall trapped to respect, which as a devotee we get a lot. There are so many temptations on the path of devotion. In fact, there was one saint, I forgot, no, actually there was one pope, I forgot his name, Romeo. So I think he was South Mexican Pope. And when he became Pope, the priest actually took him to the church, and they showed the statues of other popes who actually fell down. The statues were of those popes who fell down. So that pope asked, new pope, that why are you showing me all these statues? I mean to say, you should have shown me statues of popes who were actually glorious. And first of all, why did you build all these statues of people who fell down? You should have put their photographs in a small dark room, and just in oblivion, and forget them. They're fallen popes. They said, well, we made statues of them, and we put them in the exhibition for all the coming popes to see that you will also be tempted, and you will also be tested, and you have to be careful. And how to be careful? This consciousness, what Prithu has, that everything is meaningless, that forms a safe net, that forms a foundation which will protect us from falling down. It's very powerful, I mean to say. If you're doing, as a devotee, If you don't understand this concept, definitely we are falling into illusion. We will start enjoying prasad, we will start enjoying respect, we will start enjoying post. But we have to understand, even within Krishna consciousness, all these things, what value they have. Within Krishna consciousness, there is just one valuable thing, Krishna and his devotees. That's all, and their service. Everything else is meaningless. Everything else we are using to actually serve Krishna and his devotees somehow till the time we are in this material world, and finally we leave all those things and go back to God. That's how it goes. We are not going to. I mean to say, when you will die, and if from spiritual world a plane comes, so will you tell that Vishnu, oh actually, so I want to carry my altar to spiritual world because it's so nice. It's crazy. You will leave your altar back. So I want to carry my bead back to spiritual world. You will leave everything back. Why? Because he knows these are all the means to actually help us get attracted towards Krishna and his devotees and focus our mind on their service. They are all the means. And once the purpose is fulfilled, it's all over. They'll always remain here. And we'll go back to spiritual world taking nothing at all, only in a spiritual form. But that will happen when you will understand that nothing has no value. That's all. The only value they have till the time they are engaged in service of God. And once you get perfect and you're ready to go to spiritual world, at that point of time, even all those things also lose any value. You're going to leave them. You're going to leave your temple. You're going to leave your bead bag. You're going to leave your altar. You're going to leave your nice deities also, and go back to spiritual world. So there is, it requires little maturity to understand that the things, things which we are not using in spiritual service of God, we have not a mortal concern with them. The things which we are using in service of God, now there is a problem. Are they meaningless or they are meaningful? That's the whole point. This body we are using in service of God, is it meaningless or is it meaningful? You might say, okay, this because we are a devotee, this body is Krishna's temple, we are using in Krishna's service, this is meaningful. Yes, but at the same time, this is meaningless. It's both. Now you might say, how it is both? Well, that's called maturity. It's both. It is meaningless because it's flesh. It's prone to die. It's transient. But because we are using in service of God, we have given some meaning to it. We have made this meaningless thing a little fortunate. That's all. And once the purpose is over, once we get a spiritual form, ready to go back to spiritual world, just leave it. That's all. We're going to leave it. We are not going to even look back at this body. Oh, my body, this was temple of God. This is Krishna's property. This is when used in service of God. Will you think like that when you die? When you leave this body? Or when some spiritual word, some plane comes, and then you'll say, so actually, wait a minute, I want to carry my body with me. Why? Because it was used in service of God. Then, at that time, you have to understand it's all meaningless. So that's the whole point. It's both meaningless and meaningful. In reality, it's meaningless, no value. But because we are using in service of Krishna, we have actually given some value to them. We have given some value to them because they are useful in service of God to develop attachment. In itself, per se, there's no value. And when our purpose will be fulfilled, we'll gladly leave it and go back to spiritual world. That's all. We'll not even think back. That's how it goes. Just like a boat. A boat is meaningless or meaningful. Unless you are in the river and you're crossing a river, you're crossing the ocean, it is meaningful. But nevertheless, you understand, when you will reach the shore, you will just leave the boat and enjoy. and just throw it back. Throw it off. That's all. Your purpose is solved. So it's both. It's both. And you have to understand both things. So that's the whole point. But per se, don't be interested in this material world. There's nothing in this material world, in fact. There's nothing in your families, there's nothing in your children, there's nothing in your husband, wife, in anything. Although this material world is tempting, and I can understand, it pulls, but then again you have to remind yourself and actually keep your mind strong and tight so that it doesn't become loose and again fall into this rabbit hole of this material word, andhapupam, as Shukdev says, or in American slang you can say rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole. If you're not strong, if your mind is not tight, if your heart is not strong and alert and stern, we'll actually get sucked up in illusion. In the name of devotion, we'll get sucked up. And that's why many sannyasis have fallen down in ISKCON. There's a history, we all know the histories. Why? Because they were doing service, they were doing everything, but they forgot this basic concept of nirarthakam. They forgot this concept of nirarthakam. Even though everything we are using in service of God, ultimately it's all meaningless. That's all. Finish. It's all finished. Otherwise you'll be thinking of these things, and otherwise you'll get distracted by the same things which you are using in the service of God. You see the point? And your mind will just go here and there. So just like we use this laptop in service of God, well, if I mean to say in our eyes, okay, it's meaningful because it's used in service of God, but at the same time it's meaningless. We don't care about it. It's used in service of God, okay, fine, but if it gets spoiled or lost, okay, we'll get another laptop, who cares for that? But at the same time, while chanting, we'll not be thinking of laptop. We are not thinking of laptop. Because why? Because we are least interested in this laptop, per se. We are interested because it helps us in service of God, but at the same time, we are least interested. So that's why when we chant, this laptop doesn't become a distraction, although it is used in service of God. Otherwise, if you're interested in this laptop, this is used in service of God, and this and that, then while chanting also you'll be thinking of it. Technically, this is called as aropsit bhakti, which actually I'm going to go into this. We put meanings to objects by engaging them in service of God. We put meanings to meaningless things for some time. For some time when we are using that in service of God. When they're not using service of God, finish. It's over. Like that. So that's Prithu had. This is called maturity. This is called Vivek. And if we can understand this, we will actually advance nicely, and we can we'll actually develop all godly qualities. That's how it goes. Just like Bhaktivedanta used to say, he made so gorgeous temples for Krishna. But then Bhaktivedanta says, even if they get destroyed, that's okay. That's okay. The thing which should not be destroyed is the service attitude in the heart of devotees, which actually developed in the heart of devotees with the help of these temples. That's all. But even if they get destroyed, okay, our purpose is solved because devotees developed service attitude, isn't it? So if you make a temple and if you get destroyed, if you make a temple and if you have an inauguration of the temple and there's a bomb blast, I think it's destroyed. Are you a loser? No. That's how it goes, because we understand this temple is made of bricks. In itself, it's meaningless. It got blasted, okay. The whole point, it got blasted. But the whole point is, when you are making the temple, when devotees are making the temple, they actually made a temple in their hearts. A temple not made of bricks and cement, a temple which was made of service attitude and determination to attain God. And that was more important. And And even if this temple was destroyed, that temple will never be destroyed. So devotee understands, okay, fine, no problem. If that was Krishna's wish, okay, we'll make another, no problem. But if you you're attached, but if you think that temple is okay, that temple is so important and this and that because it's used in service of God, it's the only meaningful thing in your life, then you're in a problem. So the temple is meaningful, but the whole point is when you go to a higher platform of service attitude, that is much more meaningful than the temple itself, which is made of bricks and cement. Because that temple has to be used. It is used to make that temple of service attitude in the heart. From that perspective of service attitude, this is meaningless. That's how a pure devotee works. That's the concept of nirarthakam. You see the point? From that perspective, it becomes meaningless. Laptop is meaningful because it is used in service of Krishna. But when the devotee understands that service of Krishna, that's the most important thing. And when he raises himself higher to that platform, and then he looks back, from that platform, laptop is useless. If the same function can be done without a laptop, we'll throw this off. That's all. We are least attached to this machine. That's the concept of nirarthakam. So as the higher you go, the more things become meaningless. Prabhupada gives example. If you sit in a plane and if you go higher in the plane, the more higher you go, the more the buildings become smaller. The more higher you elevate in Krishna consciousness, the more things become meaningless. At one time, even rules and regulations become meaningless, isn't it? For Paramahamsa, Swanityanand, for Avadut, even rules and regulations of devotion becomes meaningless. Rules and regulations which are so meaningful to all of us as practitioner of devotion. For people who are Avadut, who are at Paramahamsa level, for them even the same rules and regulations which are of prime importance to sadhaka, they become meaningless. They just throw away all the rules. Nityananda Prabhu didn't follow any rule. Prabhupada also many times, he just threw away all the rules. Now you can understand what's happening. Because at that platform, at that level of consciousness, even rules become meaningless. At the level of Raganuga Bhakti, even sadhana in one sense becomes meaningless. So in the sense, I mean to say, at the level of Raganuga Bhakti, it's not that we don't follow sadhana, but the whole point is we don't follow sadhana because we have to follow sadhana. At the level of Raganuga Bhakti, a devotee follows sadhana because he likes to fulfill the desire of God. That's the idea of a devotee. He follows sadhana because he knows Krishna will be so happy if I follow sadhana. But people who are at Vedic Bhakti, they follow sadhana because in their mind, if they don't follow sadhana, they'll fall down. It's a very different level of consciousness. So you see, the higher you go, the previous platforms becomes meaningless. When you become a devotee, anything not connected to God becomes meaningless. When you advance a little in devotion and you reach to Raganuga platform, the whole concept of sadhana bhakti becomes meaningless. Because now you are not doing sadhana just to do sadhana. You're doing sadhana to actually fulfill desires of God because you like Krishna. And when you become Paramahamsa, the whole concept of Raganuga and Vedi, everything becomes meaningless. You throw away all the systems. Because at that platform, the only meaningful thing in your life is Krishna and His service. Everything else becomes meaningless. And when you go to spiritual world, I mean to say, even the concept of Paramahamsa becomes meaningless. Where in spiritual world, because even Paramahamsa, that's a concept related to this material world. He is Paramahamsa. He can differentiate between Maya and Krishna. But when you're in spiritual world, there is no illusion. So this concept of differentiating between Maya and Krishna, it becomes redundant, it becomes meaningless. You don't need it. You can do it because you're perfect, but you don't really need it. It becomes meaningless. So you see, that is why this verse, they are saying, Nirarthakam avidyarachitam nirarthakam. Now, so you see the point. I started the lecture that you can recognize a godly man, a great man, by this concept of nirarthakam. We define nirarthakam as renunciation, the power of renunciation. But the whole concept of nirarthakam goes much deeper than renunciation. It's not just renouncing material sense gratification. That's not the whole point. The concept of meaningless goes much deeper, not just renouncing sense gratification, but as you go higher, you're also renouncing the lower concepts. They become meaningless, and that's how you go higher in devotion. Otherwise, you get stuck up in devotion, and that's the whole, let's say, panorama of this word nirarthakam. And this word is used here to recognize a godly man. And Prithu was that kind of thing, and that's how we can recognize Prithu and people like Prithu. And if we want to become like Prithu, we have to understand this concept of nirarthakam, slowly go higher and higher and higher, and perfect our lives and help others. That's how it goes. We might fail, we might fall down out of habits, no problem, don't worry. Keep on going. Keep on going. It's never too late, and we are never too weak, because Krishna is with us, that's all. And we will understand slowly and steadily. We might not understand now, but no problem. If you want to understand, Krishna will give you all the guidance and all the opportunity, and you will never fail in your life. That is Krishna's promise. Krishna says, wherever I am, wherever there is devotee like Arjuna, there is never a failure. So there is all hope, there is all philosophy, there is all concepts given by Bhagavatam. You just have to understand and apply in life, and then pray to God for His mercy to advance. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Prithu Maharaj ki jai. Any questions, any answers? I'm done. Any comments, by the way?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Such a wonderful class, such an nectarian class. Thank you for sharing all your realizations, Prabhu. Totally appreciate it. I do have quite a few questions, Prabhu. We have Nirjala Ekadashi coming up, so I wanted to practically get some tips from you with regards to that. Anything that has helped you in the past to stay nirjal?
What's that? Can you repeat anything?
Nirjala Ekadashi tips, Prabhu, like how to stay. Just, with me, I usually take fruits, but I want to...
I don't know. I mean to say, so you're in America?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, where in America?
In California.
Okay, California. Okay, so there you can do Nirjala Ekadashi nicely. In India, India is 49 degrees now. We are just messing up. So India, you can't. You have to drink water. But California, it's so nice, especially you have AC. Inside you have AC, and you can remain without water. That's the best. You don't have to really. You can easily remain without water.
Do you prepare yourself now? Do you prepare yourself the previous day by eating?
No, we don't prepare. I mean to say, what the maximum you can do is you can get up 3 o'clock in the night and eat. That you can do. Tomorrow is Nirjala Ekadashi, no?
Right.
So tomorrow you can so you can get up early in the morning, 3 o'clock, and you can drink some juice. And then you can take your bath, or I mean to say, do bath and then Mangalarti, and then start your Ekadashi. So that will help you the whole day.
Okay, Prabhu. All right, Prabhu. So the next one is, when we chant, do we have to create a mood as if we are in Vrindavan? Because we are not in the Holy Dham, but we are here in US. So I just wanted to see if that mood has to come automatically, or is it okay for us to think
what mood
that we are in Vrindavan, in the Dham?
No, we are not there in Vrindavan.
We are not there in Vrindavan, but some people, I have seen them saying that you should think as if you are in the Dham, even though you are not.
Well, then that is illusion. That is imagination, isn't it?
Yes, it is imagination. Right? So, yes, it is imagination.
So that your imagination is wrong? We are not supposed to imagine anything. Imagination is all mental speculation, isn't it? So for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, by the way, it is very good to think that we are not in Dham. That is Mahaprabhu's teaching. That we are away from Dham. Just like Mahaprabhu was in Puri, isn't it? So he was always feeling separation from Vrindavan. Am I not right? Or he was thinking that I'm in Vrindavan.
Got it. Yeah, he was always feeling the separation because he was.
And he always wanted to go to Vrindavan, like that. So he's teaching us. Now you're in America. You have it's very nice that you can feel you are oceans apart from Vrindavan, and that's reality. You are really oceans apart, and that's easy to think rather than to think you're in Vrindavan, because that's reality, and you can develop a mood of separation from Vrindavan, and that the
makes
whole point of love of peace.
Yes, got it. Yeah, and then another question is with regards to God's internal potency, the Ladini, Sandhini, and Samvit. I just want to understand the context with regards to us, Prabhu. What is the perfect stage for us in this material world as far as those internal potency goes?
Oh, internal, marginal, external. Actually, you know what? I don't like this concept, by the way. Personally.
No, Prabhu. This one, Ladini. I'm just talking only about the internal potency, Ladini, Sandhini, and Samvit. Yeah, I'm not talking about the marginal. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, you know, the whole point is Ladini, Samvit, and Sandhini. This is there. This is a concept is the internal potency. I mean, this is all. See, the whole point is this is some theory. But the whole point is you are asking how to bring that theory into practical action, isn't it? That's the whole point.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, yeah. So what to do with this concept in our lives? Haladini, Samvit, Sandhini.
Correct.
So the whole point is, you see the point. Samvit Shakti is responsible for knowledge, whatever knowledge we get in devotion or realization, that's given by Samvit. And Sandhini Shakti, it gives us determination to follow devotion. And Haladini Shakti gives us the bliss and the interest, the ruchi in devotion. And their corresponding deities. Haladini Shakti's deity is Radha, Samvit Shakti's deity is Yogmaya, Sandhini Shakti's deity, the regulating deity is Balrama. So now what do we do with this concept? That's the whole idea. Now the whole point is, you see all these Haladini, Sandhini and Samvit, they are just one Shakti. They are the internal potency, isn't it? Sarup Shakti. There's a one. But they appear as three. That's the whole point there. So and all of them are based, the base of all of them is Krishna. Either is Yogmaya, Balram or Radha. And Krishna is mercy. So the whole point is, all these Shaktis are, the base is mercy. Through the mercy of God we realize we'll be infused by these powers of Sandhini, Samvit and Haladini correspondingly, and then we can advance in devotion. So if you ask me how to put it practically in our lives, well, there's not much practical concern from this. The only thing we can learn from this division of potencies is that to advance, so just like we say, Krishna, please have mercy on us. So the only thing is, when Krishna has mercy, we will be infused by these three powers. Or when we get mercy of God, our bliss in devotion will increase. Our knowledge, we talked about knowledge, that will increase our realizations. And Balram will give the power of renunciation, Bala. That means determination, which I was talking in this lecture, Nirarthakam. So, so these three Shaktis help us understand whether we are advancing in devotion or not. If you're advancing in devotion, there are three symptoms of advancement. If you're advancing in devotion, Krishna will infuse these three Shaktis. And how do we know we are infused by these three Shaktis? By these three symptoms of renunciation, knowledge and bliss. And the more we are experiencing them the way I have described, the more this means Krishna is having mercy on us, we are being infused by internal potency, and we are advancing. That's why this division is told to us, so that we can recognize whether we are advancing or not. That's
Got
all.
it, Prabhu. Got it, Prabhu. And so I also have one last question. This is a practical tip I want, Prabhu, from you. Tips to sleep less. So I've followed the routine where we eat less, so we can wake up really early. Any other tips, Prabhu, like that?
Oh, by the way, why do you want to sleep less?
No, sometimes I wake up at 4:30, sometimes 5. So I just thought maybe to make it consistent, if I have to wake up at a particular time, then I need to sleep less.
So the whole thing is, if you can't wake up at a particular fixed time, what you have decided, then skip your breakfast. And the next day you'll get up 5 minutes before the fixed time, automatically. Skip your breakfast.
Skip the breakfast? Or what did you say?
Yeah.
Night? Dinner? Skip
No,
the dinner?
I'm saying, no, breakfast. I mean to say, if you don't get up in the morning at the time you have fixed, isn't it?
Yes, Prabhu.
Then you have to give some punishment to yourself.
Got you. Okay. Makes sense.
Otherwise, mind will not agree.
Okay.
That's why.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much again. We missed you last week, Prabhu.
Last week, I was there in Dwarka somewhere. Oh, so by the way, who is speaking?
Prabhu, I'm from California. This is Radhika.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay,
Hare
yeah.
Krishna, Dhamma.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Dhamma. Yes, my Patni Devi Tansi here. Namaste, Pranam, Prabhuji.
Oh, from Gurgaon. Okay.
No, from Chandigarh.
Yeah, from Chandigarh.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Prabhuji, my question pertains to the point that you made during the Bhagavatam session, that is renunciation and also humility, cultivating renunciation and humility. Now, from the brahmacharya aspect, it sounds very perfect. Transcendently also, it sounds perfect. But being on the marriage board, being in that seva, how do we preach on this point to the people whom we get married? Whom we saw. Oh my God. Whose marriages we solemnize? How do we project this point to them?
Well,
because
you have
once
to tell
a
them
person
renunciation.
comes...
You, for married people, I told you, renunciation is a big concept. It's not just leaving things around. It's just understanding.
But it's directly linked to person's upliftment in the spiritual realm.
So what do you want? I mean to say, that person is going to marry, but then marriage is not a blockade. It's when marriage not. Prithu he was married, Prithu Maharaj. So the point is, but they understood that the whole relationship of husband-wife is meaningless. That has to be understood by that person. So the couple has to be trained in that.
I see.
The couple has to be the husband. The husband has to be counseled and convinced that even if your wife dies, you don't have to be. There's no much big problem. And the wife has to be convinced like that. Even husband dies, no problem. It's all temporary relationship. You are just together to serve God, and that's a part of life. I mean to say, that thing has to be there in the heart. If that thing is not there, then they become attached, and then they are doing something else. That is called meaningless. So all these are, you see, Prabhupada was married, Bhaktivedanta Thakur was married. They were not. Bhaktivedanta Thakur's previous wife died, and he had no problems. He was not weeping. He was not thinking. He didn't have a photograph in his purse. Nothing. He just okay, fine. He married again, and then he had some kids. So they had kids, and I mean to say, Bhaktivedanta Thakur's kids were also known devotees. Some of them. But But he was not getting mad. Oh, my kids are becoming non-devotees, and I mean to say, and I have to do something. So just like modern couples, now they're so attached to their kids. Oh, my kid is not advancing in devotion. Even if I don't advance, my kid should advance. That's the whole idea, isn't it? That's how people think. That's crazy. That's complete nonsense. That's his karmas. It's your karma. You can do your duty. As a parent, you have to do our duty, best duty, to make our kids devotees. But if they don't become, okay, fine. Ultimately, all these relationships are meaningless. Srivas Thakur's son died. Srivas Thakur told his wife, "You shut up, It's all useless." And to Srivas Thakur's son, definitely he would have been a devotee. It's his son. Mahaprabhu is coming to the house. He died, and he didn't really care about it. He said, "Mahaprabhu is dancing, forget it. Just throw him in Ganges." Now you see the point. Suddenly you see the point. How can they switch this? So when Srivas Thakur's son would have been alive, and Mahaprabhu, the previous day when Mahaprabhu was dancing, the previous day to that incident, his son would have been alive, and he would have been there. He would have been loving his son and everything. At the same time, as soon as he died and Mahaprabhu was dancing, he said, "Just throw him off." That's all. Now you see the point. At the base of his heart, he understood it's all meaningless. That's all. So that power of renunciation, it has to be inculcated in householders. Otherwise, they will simply be in illusion, and they will be thinking, well, we are marrying and for devotion. Yeah, you are marrying for devotion. That's good. But then you have to understand, otherwise you will get entangled in all this kind of stuff. And then it's a big problem. So that is why Bhagavatam is there. That is why so many incidences are there. And it has to be put across in a proper way. And then they will understand in their hearts. Externally, they will perform all duties. Externally, it is said the male should take care of his wife and should also show affection to his wife and children. But in the heart, he should understand it's all useless. That's how Chandala Smriti says. That's a duty of a husband. Similarly, with the wife, she should also be chaste, and she should serve her husband nicely. Because Dharma says, well, then she should understand it's all meaningless. It's all bodies of flesh and bone coming together. That's all. So that has to be reminded again and again. Otherwise, we'll forget. And that is why a sannyasi should preach to householders. It's important. To say there's a concept that householders should preach to householders. Of course, that has some meaning to it, because some problems householders can understand better because they're leading a life in household life, same life the other person is leading, so they can better guide them. At the same time, it's always brahmacharis and sannyasis which will actually infuse this meaning of worthlessness in their life, and then they can continue their life in a proper mode. And that, I don't know, if that counseling is not happening, then there's a whole problem.
The divorce rates are very high in the marriages solemnized in ISKCON. So from that perspective, I put forward this question to you.
Divorce rate, divorce rate are high because, divorce happens because they are too much attached. It's dualities. Attachment brings fear. Fear brings problems. Anxieties brings frustration. Frustration brings divorce. If there's no attachment, then there's no divorce. Because then both the parties will understand, okay, we are living together temporarily to serve God, that's all. And whatever problems are coming, they are part of life, and they nevertheless will come, and we have to live together and in this transient life and go ahead and finish, and then my husband will die, I'll die, it's all gone. But the whole point is, if they're not counseled properly, then they marry, they become attached, and they have some expectations. Okay, this is my wife, she will help me in devotion, she will get up in the morning and wake me up in Mangal Aarti, but then she's sleeping till 8 o'clock, and he thought, she is going to wake me up at Mangal Aarti, but she's in his own world. And you see the point, and the wife has expectations from husband. She's thinking, okay, he will take me to programs and this and that, but then he's going somewhere, he doesn't have time in jobs, and she says, why did I marry? You see so many problems. They have expectations, they become attached, and they have then expectations from each other, and then when it doesn't happen, then they become divorced. But the whole point is they have to understand, you see, in material world, don't expect anything from anybody. Don't have any attachments to any concept. Now, expectation means you're attached to a concept. So don't become attached. It's all meaningless. The whole point is you have to marry. Okay, the female has to marry because it's her dharma. She can't remain unmarried. The male has to marry because he's forced to marry. He cannot control his senses. Let's be frank. Otherwise, why to marry? He can't control his lust. Okay, let's be frank here. He can't control his sex. So okay, marry him. So then he has to marry. Okay, so now fine. Now both of them come together, the male and the female, and but then they have to understand. I mean to say, any devotee. No Mataji is a Paramahams, and no Prabhuji is a Paramahams. It's not like that. We are living in the real world. We are some ordinary devotees. Okay, we are coming together. A woman needs security. The male needs some emotional support because he's not strong probably to remain brahmachari. That's also the cause. Sometimes it's not just lust. Sometimes people are not so emotionally strong, so they cannot remain in brahmachari ashram. Okay, no problem, marry. So they both stay together, and okay, fine. Two devotees are coming together. Whatever help she can give, whatever help I can do, we'll help each other, do devotion as Vaishnav Sangha, some association, some emotional support as a male and female principle, some security, and then go ahead, and that's all. If that understanding is given, then there'll be no divorce. I mean, you see, previously there was no divorce, isn't it? Now there are divorces in modern couples, because previously it was natural understanding. People naturally through culture they understood. Well, it's all meaningless. I mean to say, but okay, fine. It's dharma. It's a duty. So let's do it, and that's all. That's all. No expectations of any kind. Whatever help I can offer, I can offer. Whatever help she can offer, okay, good. And just continue your life and have kids. Try to make them devotees. If they become devotees, okay, good. If they don't become devotees, then say their destiny, what can we do? And then they perfect their life, and then in the old age they go to some dham, live there and die. That's all. That's how it used to. It was such a simple thing because it was there in our culture. Because people used to hear sannyasis, people used to hear sadhus. And sadhus used to speak all these things. Same things, scriptures and Bhagavatam, as it is. About so many things, renunciation, laws of karma, birth, death, same things, but of course in a proper perspective of this nirarthakam. People got it in their minds. Previously, people were not even attached to their money. I mean to say, my grandfather, he was very rich, and then he got a big loss, and he was on street practically. But he was not disturbed because he said, well, everything comes, whatever comes, it goes. They were hearing in culture from sadhus. They understood it's all meaningless. He said, anyway, no problem. When God is there, I am there. We will work hard and do it again. His wife was also not disturbed. His wife would have left, now you're nonsense pauper. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to go back to my mother's house. No, they understood these things. So like that, this counseling is important. That's why divorce rate is there. Divorce, you can't avoid divorce just by modern tips. It can never happen. People give some modern tips. Okay, no, how to maintain relationship. You be nice and you be good. And then every morning you get up and tell your wife, I love you, darling. So I'm just giving an example. I don't know. In America it happens. In America they say, every morning get up, tell your wife, I love you, darling, otherwise she'll get annoyed. And then the wife will also say, yes, I love you too. And this is how you start your day, and then relationships will be good. And then you take her out once a week or some. This will never work. These tips are not going to work. These are all nonsense tips. The only thing which will work is this proper understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam. In the right spirit. That's the whole point. Only this thing is going to work. and then there will be no divorce. Because this thing was working so many centuries. People knew this. And that's why there was no divorce. This was a crux. Otherwise, they'll simply divorce. That's all. If the husband becomes... Oh, actually, you see, so as a doctor, I used to get a lot of cases of actually impotency. So the husband, like in my ward, and the husband used to become impotent, and the female used to say, oh, he's becoming impotent, I'm going to leave her. That's, I mean to say, as a doctor, I'm just saying. It used to happen like that. Even now, I mean, a person who becomes... so one of my friend's brother, so he got a disease, myasthenia gravis. And he's like almost paralyzed. His wife just left him. In America, I'm talking, the Indians. Because he's good for nothing. I mean to say, he can't develop a relationship with his wife. So the wife says, nonsense, get lost. I'll go to another boyfriend. He should take another boyfriend. You see the point? You see the point? Divorce is happening because they don't understand that, I mean to say, even the relationship between husband and wife, it's all meaningless. Because she gave a meaning to that relationship. Because she gave a meaning to that physical relationship. And now because that physical relationship is not possible, okay, divorce. But the whole point is, right from beginning, people understood that this is all superficial things. Marriage was never based on all these things. Marriage was based because they had to get married as a culture, as a duty, as a dharma. So you see the point, that's the whole point there. Anything you give meaning to this, to anything in this material world, you give meaning, or you superimpose a meaning by your own ideas to anything in this material world, to any object, to any person, to any concept, that will bring miseries. That's all. That's what this verse is trying to explain us. But per se, people understood.
Okay, I got the point. I got the point. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, so anything anybody wants to ask otherwise? We'll just...
Hare Krishna. Oh,
Hare
is there somebody else? Hare Krishna Prabhu. Oh boy, so many things. Well, there's so many things, but when you say we attach meaning, can you hear me properly?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so when you say that people are attaching meaning to things that don't have meaning, by this statement, you mean that people are thinking that things or things, temporary things, are going to make them eternally happy. Is that the idea behind saying that people are attaching meaning?
Ultimately, you attach meanings because you want happiness from that. That's why we attach meanings. Otherwise, why we will attach meanings? We attach meanings and then we use it to, or we exploit it to get happiness, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And so also when you were saying that, these tips that married people get to keep their marriage together, they won't work. Why you say they won't? Those things will not work?
Because those things have no foundation. A building which has no foundation will eventually collapse. Those tips might be good, but the whole point is there's no foundation of this concept of nirarthakam, which is the base, which is what is material world is all about. The reality is missing from those concepts. So eventually it just falls down. It just ends up in frustration. It can't continue because they are living in their own fantasized world, which is good. Those tips might be good, but it's all fantasy because they are not in reality. Reality is
okay.
So you understand? That's right.
Yeah. So the idea is that those things won't work because they're having the conception that they are their bodies and they're trying to keep their bodies together eternally.
Yeah,
and that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're in a falsehood.
Yeah. There was one Mataji. She identified herself as Radhika from California, and when she was asking you about, Hladini Shakti, Sandini, and Samvit, she began to say something, and you said that there's a particular conception that you don't like. But what was it that you don't like? Do you remember?
Well, I remember very well. I remember what I don't like always. Generally, you see the point. I don't like this. You see the point, internal potency, marginal potency, external potency. It's there. It is a very, it's a very common concept in our books, internal, marginal, external. But personally, what I don't like because I find it very theoretical concept. We are marginal and internal potency, external potency. It's there. So I mean to say, we get to the point. It makes its point perfect that we are marginal. We can choose either to remain an internal or external. It's perfect to the point. It's given by Acharyas. That's no question. But the whole point is that's my personal preference. It's very personal to me. Yeah, it's my personal preference. I don't like this concept because ultimately, I mean to say, the external potency is so strong that it seems that at the present point we don't have a choice to keep ourselves internal or external. Just like, for example, if you're standing on a beach and you say, okay, no, tsunami is coming, and you say, okay, I'll save myself. Can you save yourself? You're standing on a beach and tsunami is coming. You can't do anything, isn't it?
Correct.
You're dead. So the whole point is, we say we can choose, and we choose also. But the whole point is, in conditioned state of life, practically there's no choice. We are so much forced by these reflexes and these desires.
Yes.
So that's why this concept, although it's there, we can choose, but at the same time, practically, if you come to practical situation, this concept is not really there, And then at that point, it's all, I mean to say, we need some extraordinary blessings or some fortune to actually get out of that network. We don't have power to do anything, practically. Isn't it?
It's true, so true. That's my life.
Yeah. That's all. That's the point.
But at the same time, even though that is our experience, yet we are still expected to exercise this quote-unquote free will to perform our items of sadhana.
Actually,
even though
you're right. You're right. We are free to perform sadhana, but at the same time, even sadhana, you see, we are just free to actually we are free even not to perform sadhana because the illusion is so strong it will not even allow us to do sadhana. That's the whole point.
That's my point. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So then we are only free to do one thing. Just one thing. We are only free to desire.
Yep, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
That's all. We can desire now that Krishna, I want to be with you. Or I want to serve you. That's all. Rest, Krishna will take over. We are almost helpless.
Yes. Yes.
That's how it goes. and so by the way, that's why Krishna says, always pray, because prayers will intensify your desire, and that desire will actually carry you forward. Otherwise, everything will fail. You see, even everything as sadhana, everything will fail. Time use. Maya is not a kid.
Well, thank you so much, Prabhu. I just love your lecture so much. I can't tell you. Okay, one other thing is that when we were talking about Prithu Maharaj, and it became like equivocal statements. Is he actually, some kind of expansion of Krishna, or is, you said that there are some people whose opinions is that he's Shakti-Avesh avatar, yet we said that he's not Shakti-Avesh avatar, he's expansion. So is there some definitive concept there?
Yeah.
About
No, actually, they are both opinions. So it seems that in some kalpas he is Shakti-Avesh avatar, in some kalpas he is direct incarnation of God. It seems both are possible in different eras of time. Both opinions are there.
Oh, no wonder I'm confused. Okay, and then also you at one point you said that I didn't understand why you said that even though Lord Ram is, God himself, Prithu was actually even more perfect because then you said how many times you hear something or other? How many times you hear about something? And I didn't catch that part either.
Oh no! Actually, Srimad Bhagavatam Parikshit Sukadeva Goswami doesn't talk about Ram Lila because Sukadeva Goswami says how many times you have heard Ram Lila. I'm not going to repeat it again. So that was one concern why Bhagavatam doesn't speak about Ram Lila. But another point was why Bhagavatam doesn't speak about Ram Lila because it wanted to actually project Prithu as a perfect king, even more perfect than Ram. So that was a thrust there.
Mm-hmm. So in what way was Prithu more perfect than
Ram? In Ram, his whole kingdom, the whole management, it was much more perfect than Ram. It was much more. I mean to say, Ram had to leave his wife, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ram had to abandon Sita because people in his kingdom, they blamed him, isn't it? So that the Sita might be contaminated and all these things. That happened in Ram's kingdom. But so it's a major fault in the rule because people are like that. People aren't supposed to be like that and think something about the king and the queen. So one of the things was there. But in Prithu, it is said in Bhagavatam, Prithu ruled his whole life and nobody could deny his rule. He was the only king when he was there. Nobody was equal, nobody was greater than him. And everybody accepted him as the whole soul Lord of the entire earth. There was no question, no doubt. So that's why
there was no doubts about his character, you're saying?
Yeah. His character, there was no doubt. His character is management. But Lord Rama, we know some few stories where even management got little faulty.
Derailed.
And way out became little. So we have some incidences, but Prithu we don't have any.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, just one last quick thing is Ambarish Maharaj. He was celebrated for was it all mind processes or just deity worship? Ambarish Maharaj.
Well, for all limbs, but
all
mostly
limbs.
for deity worship. Yeah, for all limbs, he's for all limbs. But if you ask specifically for deity worship.
So my question is, he was Jiva? He was just, or was he Shakti-Avesh?
No.
Was he also no? He was just Jiva, not even Shakti-Avesh.
No,
right?
he was Jiva.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, I'm done, Prabhu. Thank you very, very much. So much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for your questions, Prabhuji, and very nice question, answer question. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for such a beautiful class. If there are no questions, we would like to end the call here by offering
Vaishnava prayers. Vacha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva ca patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Grace Keshav Anand Prabhuji ki jai. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.